Welcome to the High Vitality Life podcast. I'm Shannon Staples, life and wellness coach. I believe we're all capable of great things, of making a difference in the world, and of having success, whatever that might look like for you, without the burnout and the stress, because life was never meant to be a struggle. I'm passionate about coaching change makers to be their best so they can make a bigger impact, all while increasing their energy, health, happiness, peace, and ease. So I want to talk to you a little bit about balance. So that's the big buzzword these days, especially if you're burned out, stressed out, or overwhelmed. Everybody talks about wellness and creating balance in your life. And when we're burned out, it's because we've just been out of balance for too long. So we're all capable of working our butts off for a period of time, burning the candle at both ends to finish a project or work on some aspect of our business where we've got a deadline or something of the sort. The problem comes in when that just goes on forever or without a defined end state, and we eventually burn ourselves out, right? So the trick is to recognize when that's going on too long for you and to address it, obviously, as soon as you possibly can. Give yourself permission to take the time to recharge, because if you don't, you're going to end up in a worse situation than you are at the moment. So one way to do that is to figure out what it is that you really love to do that recharges your energy. If you're an introverted person, you probably know about yourself that you recharge in private. You need a lot of downtime or a time alone in order to recharge your energy. If you're an extrovert, maybe that means being social, going out, going dancing, or going to a party with friends or a social event of some kind, and having that social interaction that gives you that energy boost you need. Or maybe it's a combination of things for you. Whatever it is, you need to understand yourself and tap into that on a regular basis and honor it. Allow yourself that time because it's really important. So the idea that we can be in perfect balance all the time is a myth. Really, finding balance or creating balance is a process. It's a journey that never ends. It's a continual awareness of where and how we need to adjust our lives or aspects of our lives in order to have more balance. So that we don't get so far out of balance that we burn out. It's also a myth that in order to achieve more balance, we have to give up the thing that's been occupying most of our time, or at least some of it. The truth is that science clearly concludes now that when we prioritize our well-being, it positively affects our decision-making, our creativity, our productivity, and our performance across the board. So it's not a trade-off situation. It's not a matter of I have to spend less time working or I have to give up my success at work in order to create more balance and do more self-care because I don't have enough time. That's a myth. It's not true. The time that you spend on self-care and on well-being, on creating strong relationships and being happy in your life, in other aspects of your life, will pay off hugely across the board. You will be more productive. It's a situation where those things work in tandem. When you're happier at home, you're more productive at work. When you're happier or more productive at work, you're happier at home. There's a synergy that happens there. One thing amplifies the other thing, and you get the benefit in both or multiple areas of your life. It's not just, there's more than two areas of life that we could be talking about here besides work and home. But you get the point. So the payoff time-wise of looking after yourself is actually huge. You won't lose time by taking that 10 minutes to meditate. You'll actually be more productive and get more done. So that's a perspective that you may not have thought too much about before, but it's worth it's the truth. So really it's about trying it out for yourself and seeing how it works. So, and another thing I want to talk about balance is it's not about spending an equal amount of time on each area of your life throughout your day or your week. So I kind of touched on this already, but mostly, I guess the difference that I want to talk about here is that it comes from being aligned. Balance comes from being aligned, being in flow, being connected to your higher wisdom, your intuition, being on purpose. And when you operate from that place of flow, that's when you're the most energized. You feel your best. You're listening to your body, you're honoring your needs. It's not about trying, pushing, forcing it anymore. You operate from a place of doing what you know feels right, from a place of inspiration and taking inspired action, so that you're doing the most productive and inspired things on your list first, and you accomplish more. So that requires a conscious awareness. You have to tap into your inner wisdom or source energy or God or whatever. You have to tap into and align with that part of you throughout your day so that you can decide based on your needs and desires what's the best course of action for you, the most purposeful, the most inspired step you can take in that moment. So it's building that into your daily awareness. And all of this has to come from a place of understanding your purpose, from understanding your big overarching goal, your big why, or your big intention for where you're headed in life in general, like overall, your life purpose. Or even, it doesn't always have to be focused solely on the big picture. I mean, if we're in a work situation, we do have goals that we have to achieve. We do have set deadlines and projects and things that we need to do and intentions for our businesses if you're an entrepreneur as well. So it can just be, a bigger goal, say like a monthly or quarterly goal that can be your guiding light. The point is not to narrow it so far down that all you're left with is your to-do list of menial tasks. And because that's where I ended up. And that's why I started this Peace and Ease challenge for myself and then invited you guys all to join me, was I had this task list that was just killing me. I was so uninspired to do the individual things on a day-to-day basis. I'd take one look at this massive list and go, and then procrastinate. So now instead what I'm doing is I still have that list. It's not gone away. I know those are the steps that I need to take in some form or another, but I've broadened it out a little bit. I'm allowing myself more flexibility in how I proceed. So say, for instance, I need to accomplish being more visible online. And maybe on my to-do list, I thought that the best way for me to do that was to make a blog post every day or every week, or be on social media posting 3 times a day. And, trying to come up with topics to cover on those things, instead of having like a very clearly defined list of things to write about or talk about, I now open myself up to more creativity in that regard. So my intention when I start a meditation in the morning is knowing that I need to be more visible, and what feels most inspired for me to do today that will increase that visibility, that will help me get towards that bigger goal. Or I could look at the really big goal of wanting to make a difference in the world, wanting to inspire people to be their best so that we can all together create a higher vibration that's going to make the world a better place. So coming from that space of intention, what's my most inspired action I can take today? And so those are the kinds of ways that you can implement the Peace and Ease challenge, the 10-minute meditation, to inform what you're going to accomplish in a day, and to do it from an inspired place that feels good. And I don't know, I've kind of lost that train of thought, but So that's what I wanted to talk to you about, was the balance piece, and how alignment and flow is really the core of it. You could create balance by having a list, a chart, a daily schedule of fitting in all the different components of your life, but that's not going to necessarily feel good when you have to force it. You have to, I have scheduled that I have to take time for myself, and I'm supposed to be, taking a warm bath and reading a great book right now, or I'm supposed to be meditating right now. That's on my schedule. But it's easier if, instead of being that strict with it, you can just get into alignment with who you are, what your greater intention is, and then decide from that place what your next best step is. And you will naturally create more balance that way, because if you're truly aligned, then you're listening to what your body needs, how to fuel yourself well, how to move your body, when to move your body, what you want to work on, what's most inspiring for you to work on in that given moment. When you want to connect with other people, when you need time alone, all of those things will be more natural. They'll come to you more naturally when you're aligned. So about getting into that state of alignment and maintaining that awareness of when you're getting out of alignment and tapping back into it throughout your day is, for me, has been the biggest game changer. I'm Shannon Staples. Thanks for tuning in to the High Vitality Life podcast. I'd love to hear your questions and comments. You can contact me through my website at highvitalitylife.com, or on Facebook at High Vitality Life, or on Twitter at high_vitality. If you haven't yet, I invite you to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. I wish you a wonderful day of peace and ease, and hope to see you here again soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.